Hey guys, today we're going to be going over a little bit of hydraulic systems. I'm going to go a little bit into hydraulic safety, as well as this is also a video on how to build a hydraulic hose. Now, before I build a hydraulic hose, I want you guys to know what these hydraulic hoses are used and how much abuse they take, okay, before you get into actually building them. Now, one of the things is right here, what we got is our Unimog with a backhoe on the back of it. Hydraulic fluid, we use hydraulic fluid to lift very heavy objects, okay? Alright. Now, this backhoe right here, just this part, the arm, this somewhere probably weighs around maybe 2,500 pounds. Okay, just alone. That's without the truck, okay? Now, these hydraulic rams right here, pressurized with fluid. That's how it gets the shovel moving, how it gets the arm to sway back and forth, how it gets the arm to close in and out. Okay. Now, one of the things that these pressures run at, some of these hydraulic hoses can see somewhere pressures of up to 2, sometimes 5,000. Sometimes I've heard of some systems going up as high as 20,000 psi. Okay. So in order for these hydraulic hoses to be able to withstand those pressures, they got to be made out of special materials to withstand those pressures, as well as the fittings have to be able to handle those pressures, okay? Now, right here, what you see on the side of this hydraulic ram right here, this is a solid steel tube. There's no hydraulic hose on that. It's just a solid steel tube that was going to be able to withstand pressure, okay, to feed the hydraulic ram. Same with this one right here. Now, going further down, you're going to see more hydraulic hoses like this right here. One of our new ones down there that we just made. Okay. Let's give you a look at that. Now, one of the things I wanted to go over before we go into building a hydraulic hose is a little bit of hydraulic safety. Okay, since we're running at these systems 2,000, 5,000 psi pressure, okay, I just want to let you guys know. Now, on some diesel engines that we have here in the shop, they are common rail fuel systems, have common rail fuel systems on them, okay? The newer common rail fuel systems are probably running at somewhere, the newer ones, they're running at 44,000, 46,000 psi, okay? Now, even though these are probably not running near as much pressure, as far as lines go, line pressure, it can still hurt you, okay? If this fitting were to pop off, let's just say you didn't crimp the connection enough, and the fitting were to pop off and your hand was near here, the pressure from the hydraulic fluid hitting your skin is enough to penetrate through your skin and get into your blood and cause blood poisoning, okay? You don't want to have that happen, because then bad stuff will start happening, long story short. Alright, so definitely want to take some big precautions about that, knowing that you're working around something that's this high of pressure. You want to make sure you have your safety glasses, if not, a safety shield. Okay, preferably I'd like a safety shield if I were working around these, okay, but that's just me. Safety glasses is fine. Alright, now one of the next things I want to talk to you about, besides just a basic safety get around, there are these hydraulic fittings. What these are called, this is called a crimped fitting. This is a crimp, meaning this line is crimped and it is locked to this fitting, okay? In order for you to undo it, you're actually going to have to cut the line, so that way you can put a new fitting on there and then crimp it again, okay? Now, what this does is inside the fitting has a little nipple inside it. You can't see it because the hydraulic hose is over it, okay? You screw the hydraulic hose down onto the nipple, you put it in the press, put the dies on it, and what the press does is it has a wedge that squeezes, that crimps this outside part of the fitting, okay? Originally, when we get in the hydraulic building room, I'll show you guys this, but originally when this fitting was what it looked like before it was crimped, it was flush right here with this lip. This lip right here was not showing. It was actually one flush before it was crimped to the line, okay? So with that, just one of the things on the side note, if you don't crimp these fittings right, you're risking a line popping off or a leak, a bad leak happening, okay? On a side note, guys, if you ever see a leak, a hydraulic hose leak, like one of these, what you want to do is you want to depressurize the system and then fix the leak. Tighten the hose, tighten the fitting, depending on what's leaking, okay? If it's leaking at the crimp, more than likely you're going to have to cut the line and you're going to have to put a new fitting on there and then screw it back on, okay? So we're in our hydraulic building hose room, alright, and right here in my hand I have a hydraulic hose. Now, like I was saying earlier in the video, I was saying that these hydraulic hoses, I should have said that these hydraulic hoses are not just made of rubber like you see on the outside. Some hydraulic hoses are steel braided on the outside, some of them have a rubber coating like this one is, okay? And if I look, I can tell, if I look real closely, I can see that it has different layers in it. It has steel layers inside it. Some of them contain polyester, like the inside piece right here might be polyester, the outside might be a steel braided with a rubber coating on the outside, okay? For these hydraulic hoses to handle 2,000, 5,000, somewhere up to 20,000 psi pressure, they have layers. They will have layers inside them to withstand those pressures, okay? To withstand expansion, heat expansion, as well as withstand the force coming from the pump, okay? Now, going on to building the hydraulic hose, okay? Right here, we have our cutter machine. This is to cut the hydraulic hose to a specific length, okay? Basically, you just flip the machine on, very simple, alright? And you just come down with it and you cut your hose, okay? Take your hydraulic hose. Now, at this point, since this one is already cut, okay, at this point, you're going to be matching the size fitting going up to this hose. It's pretty, I'm not going to go in too depth of the size fitting that it should take. All I got to say is the nipple, and I'll show you in just a second. Actually, I'll show you right now. This is what I was talking about earlier with the hydraulic fitting. It has a little nipple on here, and what this does, what the machine does, it takes the dies and it crimps it against the hose, so that way it basically squeezes the hose together against this nipple, so that way it prevents any leaks. It prevents the hose from getting popped off, okay? Simple as that. Make sure this little nipple is matched up with the right size of the hose, okay? Alright, once we find our right size of the hose, we're going to go ahead and what you're going to do is you're going to screw on this little nipple onto the hydraulic hose initially, so that way we can put it in the die to get it crimped. Alright, now once you got your fitting on the hose, what you want to do is you want to screw it all the way down to the point where it stops. Once it stops, you're good. You know that the hose is all the way up into the connection. Okay, next thing you want to do is you want to take your dies, and you want to make sure, like we have a couple dies right here. One of these dies is broken, just from other people using it. They wear over time. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your hydraulic hose, you're going to stick it in the middle of the dies. Okay. Okay, so when you put the spacer over the dies, that's going to be mounting against the press. What the press does is it presses down on this, and then the dies close, causing that crimping connection like I was talking about earlier. What it does is it squeezes the hydraulic hose, preventing it from popping off. Okay? Now, what you want to do at this point, okay, you want to set the pressure that you're going to go up to. Okay? This specific one won't go any higher than 15. Okay? And like I said was earlier, we have a hydraulic hose right here. That little lip that I was talking about. Okay? This one was actually cut or crimped twice, which is not good. They need to be only crimped once. This is the lip that I was talking about. This one actually could have a little bit more on it, okay? A little bit less of a lip, okay? But this is the lip I'm talking about. You want just a little bit of a lip, okay? Not too little, not too big like this one is, okay? And that all depends on how far up the fitting is in these dies. You want to just adjust it. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of finagling, okay? But once you got it right, you got it right, okay? slide it back on the press. I'm not going to crimp this one for you. This is just a demo, okay? But what this does, whenever I press this button, once I have my pressure set, what this does is it's going to take this and it's going to press down on the die, causing the connection to be crimped, okay? So with that, that's how a hydraulic hose is made, okay? So with that, guys, I hope this video was informational. I hope it was good, okay? So with that, I hope you guys know how to build a hydraulic hose. We'll see you guys later.